are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because we're talking about my November reads. Finally. Sorry it took me a little bit. If you hear stomping, I'm so sorry. Eddie is playing with his toy mouse and he's just having the best time. So if you hear a bunch of noise, that would be why. At least he's content. Anyways, I only read 6 books in November, but a couple of them were pretty chunky, and the books I did read were pretty good books. So I'll take it. As you all know, I've started a new job, and things have just been really busy. Now, let's talk about the books. These are not going to be in any particular order. They're just all willy-nilly order-wise. The first one is You'll Never Find Me by Allison Brennan. I did a whole vlog on this one a few weeks ago. I'll link it down below in case you missed it. Not only did I read this book, but I also tried some mystery sour punch straw candy, including ghost pepper rowlette sour punch straws. They were a lot of fun. So if you missed it, I'll link it down below. This book was in a blind date with the book, so I didn't know what I was getting until I opened it. So I don't have the physicals here at all of any of these books. I just started filming the video, didn't even have any of the books ready. I just knew I needed to get the video done. Anyhow, so I'll put a picture of it here. This one is a thriller instead of horror. And thriller is one of those that's like hit or miss for me. And a lot of times I struggle with them because they don't ever surprise me, or a lot of times they don't surprise me. This one actually did. There were a lot of twists and turns. I didn't know where it was going. I actually was completely thrown off and pleasantly surprised by this one. I had a great time with it. Had a very strong female lead character, and I really loved her. Loved her personality. I like that she's a force, and she's not a damsel in distress. She is somebody who is not afraid to kick ass. She's out there, she's getting things done. I'm not going to go there and tell you the plot again. I'm sure you've already heard it, and if not, then like I said, I'll link that video down below because I don't want to go through it again for those that have already heard this whole thing. But yeah, this was nice and twisty. There was a couple different plots going on at one time. It kept me very invested. It kept me turning the pages. It was a chunkier book, but it was very fast-paced. It was really good. The ending was really good. And this is part of a series, which I didn't know going into it, but now I know it's part of a series. And what I appreciated about this was that, a lot of times with series, they'll end the books on this huge cliffhanger where you're just like, oh my God, why, what happens next? This ginormous cliffhanger where you have to know what happens next. And while I do want to know more of the series, I really want more of the investigations, I really want more of the main character, it didn't leave it on this giant cliffhanger as far as this case goes. And I appreciated that. It ended it on a nice spot. And I love that because I hate it when things are left that way. So I appreciated that. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, which is really good, especially for a thriller because I really struggle with those. Next, I read All Good People Here. This one is by Ashley Flowers. I read this one for a book club. I joined a couple of book clubs in my very small town. Couldn't believe I even found 2 of them in my little area, but I did. And then I ended up not making it to this book club. So, having kids, one thing led to another. I wasn't able to go to this one this evening, which was a bummer. But I did read the book for it, so I have no idea what everybody else thought about this one. I gave it like a 2-star. Which was a bummer. A really big bummer. I'm gonna read you what this one is about. A journalist uncovers her hometown's dark secrets when she becomes obsessed with the unsolved murder of her childhood neighbor and the disappearance of another girl 20 years later. You can't ever know for sure what happens behind closed doors. Everyone from Wakarusa, Indiana remembers the infamous case of January Jacobs, who was discovered in a ditch hours after her family awoke to find her gone. Margot Davies was 6 at the time, the same age as January, and they were next-door neighbors. In the 20 years since, Margot has grown up, moved away, and become a big city journalist. but she's always been haunted by the feeling that it could have been her. And the worst part is, January's killer has never been brought to justice. When Margot returns home to help care for her uncle after he is diagnosed with early onset dementia, she feels like she's walked into a time capsule. Wakarusa is exactly how she remembers, genial, stifled, secretive. Then news breaks about 5-year-old Natalie Clark from the next town over, who's gone missing under circumstances eerily similar to January's. With all the old feelings rushing back, Margot vows to find Natalie and to solve January's murder once and for all. But the police, Natalie's family, the townspeople, they all seem to be hiding something. And the deeper Margot digs into Natalie's disappearance, the more resistance she encounters, and the colder January's case feels. Could January's killer still be out there? Is it the same person who took Natalie? And what will it cost to finally discover what truly happened that night 20 years ago? There were parts of this that I enjoyed. I like a good mystery. I like the journalistic aspect of it and her interviewing everybody and kind of piecing together all those little details and all those things. The small town, all that jazz. And there was, the commentary on, the pageant girls and how they're sexualized and all that. You've heard all those things. There's commentary on that. There's also commentary on how, the mother is oftentimes blamed and how the double standards. And that stuff too. There were a lot of things that I had an issue with. There were a lot of things that just weren't really believable to me, and there were a lot of things that were just too convenient. I'm trying really hard not to give anything away in saying that, and that's really all I can say. I think I'm just gonna keep it very vague to not give anything away. And the ending, I didn't like the ending at all. And things were just left kind of, there were things that just weren't explained. And that's all I'll say. And that's all I really can say. But yeah, I didn't really care for it as a whole. So yeah. Next book I read was Flyboy by Anthony Metivier. This one was sent to me by the author. Anthony does have a YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out. Actually really enjoy his channel. He does a lot of book reviews, and he also goes into the magnetic memory method. I'll get into that here in a second, but he just offers a really unique insight, and I really enjoy his book reviews, so be sure to check it out. So I believe that I've told you what this book is about, but I'm going to briefly go over it again, just real quick. This is a whodunit, like a crime mystery novel that trains your memory as you're reading it, which is a brilliant concept. It's a very unique concept that I've never ran into before. And, when this was pitched to me, I didn't know how that was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to look. I wasn't sure if it would, distract me from the main plot, as far as the memory training goes, but it really didn't. It was seamless. It's one of those things, you don't really notice it as you're reading it. It's just, it was very seamless. It fit right in. It fit right into the plot, and I really enjoyed it. As far as the mystery goes, the plot itself and the main story, I really enjoyed it. I loved following along with Williams as he was solving the case and trying to figure out who Flyboy is and trying to figure out, it was kind of like a race against time, because he's trying to figure out who Flyboy is before there's another victim. And Flyboy is getting more and more brave and getting more and more bold. And also Williams is dealing with his own demons and his own past, which, it says in the synopsis, he's got his own things. Also, you're getting multiple POVs because you're also getting the POV of Flyboy, which is very cool. And I thought it was very smart to get the perspective of Flyboy. I thought Flyboy was a very fascinating character. Flyboy is a very meticulous serial killer, very intelligent, and just ruthless and just really holds no punches. You know what I mean? You know, you kind of know as it's going that things are going to escalate. Like, you can kind of feel that they're going to escalate and it's going to get worse and worse. So, like, it's going to get more and more sort of gruesome and more violent. Like, you know, Flyboy is gonna, it's building up to something bigger, and you know, it didn't disappoint. It was really good. I really enjoyed getting to know Williams as a character, and he has a well, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give. That's all I'm gonna say. But I really enjoyed getting to know Williams as a character, and he is dealing with a lot. He really is, because I mean, he just has a whole lot on his plate. But I really enjoyed it, and it's very layered and it's very complex. But I never felt overwhelmed though. Just, I really enjoyed the complexity of the characters and the plot. I want to learn more about Anthony's magnetic memory method and learning to remember things. I thought it was very well done. You could tell Anthony put a lot of work into this and leaving no stone unturned, and it was just very well done. And I mean, nothing was left unanswered, and it was just very well done. This is also part of a series. I didn't know that going into it, but I do now. This is going to be part of a series. I don't know how many books there are going to be. I'm not sure about that, but it is going to be part of a series, and I can't wait to read more. Anthony does have a website. That's where you can find this book and more about the magnetic memory method. It's a way to remember things. It's a way to keep things in your brain, and it's something that I would have never thought of, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. So, really enjoyed it. My mind is completely blown. So, like, in the best way. Next up, I read Stirring the Sheets by Chad Lutzke. I believe you heard me talk about this one before when I was talking about books that have made me cry. First of all, this is grief horror. And this is about an elderly man who is grieving his wife. He lost her, a year or so ago. He's a mortician. One day this body comes in to where he works, and it's that of a woman in her 30s. And she shares a striking resemblance to his wife in her younger years. And he gets the idea to take the body home. It's not what you think, it's nothing dirty. But, he misses his wife so deeply. I can't say much about the plot. Like, I can't say much else because it's a short read. But this is just, it's not, yes, it's sad. Obviously it's sad. It is sad. But it's also very touching, and he is just very lovable, and you just really want to, like, hug him. And there are some other characters in here as well. But it's just very moving and just thought-provoking too in some ways. And I really enjoyed this. I really did. It was just, it will definitely make you think, and maybe it'll make you hug those you love a little tighter too. But it just was really, it was really beautiful. It was a beautiful story, even if it was sad. I'll link my video down below for books that have made me cry, because I go into a little bit more there. But I just really enjoyed this. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. It was just really good. Then I read Acts of Desperation by Nolan. I went over this one not too long ago with y'all, so I'm not gonna go into it, the plot again. But basically, this one is about like obsession. It's about love. It's about like kind of being consumed by love, and it's about like kind of being addicted to love in a way. To me, this was like kind of relatable, because like looking back now and looking back at my relationships that I've had in my like 20s, and I could just be like, why did I let them treat me that way, and why did I keep going back, and just knowing that how toxic it was. That's how this book felt. It was just like this just toxic relationship, and this woman who is in this toxic relationship and this back and forth, and she is just not really being treated right, but she's like so addicted to it, and she's gonna have a lot of addiction problems actually. It's like alcoholism and things like that as well, but it also deals with like eating disorder as well, but she has a lot of issues. But yeah, this is about that, like being lost to a relationship and like being consumed by a relationship and just toxic relationships in general. But to me, this so reminded me of being in my early 20s and just being treated like crap by guys and just freaking allowing it and not know my worth. That's what it reminded me of. And I'm so glad I'm past that. But there are parts of it that were relatable in that regard. And there were a lot of really great quotes in here and quotes that I underlined. It just felt very raw and real and vulnerable and emotional. And like I said, it just made me think about it made me feel like someone, the main character just felt like someone that doesn't know her worth and just will let a guy just treat her however, just because she doesn't understand her worth or doesn't know her worth. And so she's just clinging on to this guy, is just letting him treat her however. And it was so toxic. But yeah, it was good. But that's how it felt to me. But yeah, it's also about obsession and also about very much about addiction, and even like addiction to like a lot of different things, but addiction to, you know, alcohol and even to people. And it was just really good. It was a very quick read. It was really good. Finally, I read The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. This was really cute. I don't believe I've told y'all what this was about yet. Keela has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, has spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city's elite. When a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island Keela never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. Taking refuge there, Keela discovers, much to her dismay, a nosy and very handsome neighbor who can't take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure she's fed and to help fix up her new home. In need of income, Keela identifies something that even the bakery in town doesn't have: jam. With the help of an old recipe book her parents left her and a bit of illegal magic, her cottage garden is soon covered in ripe berries. But magic can do more than make life a little sweeter. So Keela risks the consequences of using unsanctioned spells and opens the island's first ever and much needed secret spell shop. This was freaking adorable. I fell in love with it. It was so cozy. I love a good cozy fantasy, and this was so freaking cozy. I love the cottagecore vibes. I love Kaz, the little sentient plant that she has. He's freaking adorable. There were some other like little creatures in here that were so freaking cute. The entire setting was just perfect, and I just thought it was really cute. The characters, Kaz by far is my favorite character. I just thought he was so freaking adorable. Insta love really usually isn't my thing, but I didn't mind it in this instant just because it's supposed to be just like a little cozy fantasy situation. I'm just like, I don't mind it here. I really didn't. For once, I didn't mind the insta love thing. It was fine. I love the banter. The banter was super fun, and there was a lot about books here. There was a lot, just library and books, and there were pastries, there were snacks, there were, the jam, there just everything about this. Everything I want in a cozy book, it had it. And it was perfection, and now I need the second book in the series, like, immediately. I just need it. I read this through my library on Libby, and so I really need the physical copy now because I fell in love with it, and now I have to have the physical. So, and I need the book too. But yeah, this was super cute. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Okay, so I told y'all, short and sweet. I didn't read a lot of books this month, and I hope I did them justice in explaining them, because it's been a little bit, and I've read a few more books since then, so hopefully I remembered all the details correctly, because it's been a little bit. Yeah, so sorry I didn't get this out in time. Sorry I missed last week. It's been crazy. I had a flare up, and just was like really run down, and like all my joints were hurting, and all I could do was sleep. And I'm still really tired, but my joints have calmed down. Like, they gave me a steroid pack, so my joints have calmed down. Now I'm back to just my back and my tailbone hurting. I'm still tired, but not as tired, so I was able to get the video out. Anyhow, the next few weeks, you can expect my end of year things and beginning of year things. So, you know, what to expect next year, my best books of the year, my worst books of the year, all that fun stuff. So just some things to expect over the next few weeks and something to be excited about. I will see you next week. Bye for now.